Hi everyone, happy Halloween, and welcome back to my Elden Ring series where I make a build for every melee weapon in the game. And today, in the spirit of Halloween, we're going to be hunting down some skeletons and other undead enemies with one of the strongest skeleton killers in the game, the Golden Epitaph. This weapon is a straight sword that requires 12 strength, 10 dex, and 14 faith to wield, and scales primarily with faith, followed equally by strength and dex. It can be acquired behind a stone sword key door in the Ariza hero's grave just outside Lane-Dell. This weapon comes with a unique skill called Last Rites, which is an aura buff that boosts all damage sources and gives a 100% increase in damage dealt to the undead. In other words, this skill makes us do double damage against undead enemies from all damage sources. For this build, I wanted to go all out and make a skeleton hunter build that is focused specifically on maximizing our holy damage. If you don't know, undead enemies are especially weak to this damage type, and it's a good thing they are because pretty much everything else in this game is resistant to holy damage. Not really, but it's a lot. Anyway, I'm using the Golden Epitaph in my main hand to have quick access to the Last Rites buff, and I'm power stancing it with the Coated Sword. The Coated Sword is an excellent offhand weapon for this build because it deals exclusively holy damage. This, combined with the Golden Epitaph, which does majority holy damage with our setup, and the Last Rites on top, means that we absolutely melt anything undead or otherwise weak to holy damage. Both of these weapons also benefit best off of a pure faith investment, so that is exactly what I did. I will mention that you can absolutely switch the weapons around and put the Coated Sword in your main hand to have easier access to its special skill attack. Of course, I personally decided against it because this is the Golden Epitaph video, not the Coated Sword video. I also have the Erdtree Seal as a secondary offhand weapon, which I sometimes use to cast the Discus of Light incantation. This spell is another pure holy damage attack that is nice because it can be used as a long range option and is extremely FP efficient. I'm talking only 3 FP per cast, so it's basically free to use. So once again, this build was overall designed to shine best as a hunter of the undead, and it is very, very good at that job. That being said, it is still a perfectly viable build for fighting other enemies as well. The straight sword moveset is as reliable as ever with this setup, and I don't really anticipate it having any trouble except maybe against the Elden Beast and a few other endgame bosses, since Miyazaki apparently hates holy damage. But otherwise, it's viable, I promise. Moving on to my stats for the build, at level 150, I have 60 Vigor, 15 Mind, 29 Endurance, 12 Strength, 10 Dexterity, 13 Intelligence, 80 Faith, and 10 Arcane. We have a large health and stamina pool with these stats, so that is a major plus. Mind is not very important because Discus of Light is super cheap like I said, and the only other thing we need FP for is Last Rites, which lasts a full minute per use. Our primary damage stat is Faith due to the inherent scaling of both of our swords, so I went all in up to the soft cap of 80. We also need 13 Intelligence to meet the requirement for Discus of Light, but there's no point in going higher since the Erdtree Seal is the obvious catalyst choice at our level, and it scales with Faith only. As for my armor, this Halloween I am going as a Confessor. This seems like the perfect aesthetic for a warrior cleric that hunts down the undead. I'm using the Confessor hood and armor, as well as the Death Knight gauntlets and greaves. Let me know what you think of my costume. For my talismans, I am first using the Holy Scorpion Charm to get even more holy damage at the cost of some defense. If there's ever a time to use this talisman, it's here. Then I have the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia for a damage boost after successive attacks, which boosts our DPS even further. Next is the Bulgos Talisman, which gets us over the 51 poise threshold with my gear setup. And finally, I have the Dragoncrest Great Shield for more defense, which always helps. For the Flask of Wondrous Physick, I'm using the Holy Shrouding Crack tier for even more holy damage, and the Green Burst Crystal tier for more stamina regeneration. And that is all for this build video on the Golden Epitaph. Here is an overview of my setup. Thank you for watching, have a happy and spooky Halloween, and I'll see you next time.